All right, everybody, we're going to be getting started here on our Presidio webinar series. Well, we're already on part 6. I can't believe it. We'll get started here in about a minute. We got great feedback from our last webinar with Mark Haskelson, where he covered HIPAA. We were able to provide some really good templates for folks and got a lot of inquiries on that one. So I hope it was helpful. And as always, if there were any remaining questions or we can help on any of that, send us an email or a message, or Sammy's going to teach us today a message on LinkedIn, I guess, Sammy, or you could tweet us a question, I think. I'm not sophisticated enough to tell you guys how to communicate on social media, which is why we have Sammy with us today. We're going to get rolling because I always promise we keep it short, we keep it sweet. We are definitely trying to stay under 20 minutes, which is tough. There's a lot of information to impart. Sammy's an expert in this area. He's our digital marketing manager here at Presidio. And those of you who haven't met him, actually, I'll show you a picture here in just a second so you know who's talking for you here today. Sammy's actually grown up here in Thousand Oaks, left us for a bit to go to study in New York, where he got his degree, and then came back to get his master's at Cal, and then we snagged him from there. So Sam probably doesn't mind that I mentioned he's a millennial, which is why he's perfect for the job, because there's just a lot of these things that in my age demographic we didn't grow up with. And so there's often times where I'm popping over at his desk saying, okay, I want to post this, but what are all these hashtags I'm supposed to use? So he's going to walk us through some of it. Hopefully it helps you in marketing your business and growing success at your practice. And with that, we're going to get started. Go ahead, Sammy. Let's take it away.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Do a little check-in. Just do a little chat. All right, great. So I'm going to do a brief overview of the social media platforms. There's actually many more than the 7 you see right now, but these are probably the ones that will be pertinent to practice, any sort of practice. It doesn't matter, even if you work in a hospital. There's different groups. They all may or may not need social media, and they all may or may not need every last one of them. So you have to make sure you know where your customers are, what is their preferred platform, and how can you integrate between them so that you're still staying productive online and have a presence. Moving right along. So the purpose of social media is for the engagement. You want to be educational, you want to seek feedback from people, kind of expand upon your patient-physician relationship, or customers if you're not actually a physician. If you like doing laser tattoo removal, you still have that relationship online. Community building, which we'll discuss a little bit later, and obviously the promotion advertising part where you're paying for the engagement. Now, there aren't any specific rules to engagement, because if I gave you specific rules, you'd say, well, actually, it doesn't work that way for someone else's platform or their page. They might have a lot of engagement and they're breaking all the rules. Like I would usually say, stay out of politics or don't curse online, unless that's your brand. But that's usually not the case unless you are a political doctor or a public figure that way. But there are some guidelines. So the 90-10 rule, which is just a guideline so that you know that 90% of your content is useful, educational, interesting, inspiring information for your community. And then you save that last 10 for the sales. So any discount or coupons. You don't want your whole feed to just be, hey, we have a deal. Come on in, come on in. You want to make sure that you're creating conversations and starting conversations with people. And then again, stay on brand.
Yeah, Sammy, I see that a lot where I'm getting oversold. When I'm online, I start to disregard that person because I'm getting constant sales and 40% off. And then eventually you start to tune it out because they're not giving me any information I can use to grow the business, right? So good point there on the 90-10 rule.
So then moving forward to you specifically, what your story is, this is what I really encourage everyone to kind of figure out who you are. Not to get philosophical or anything or too deep, but it's not just your title. When you're creating a bio on these social platforms, you want to make sure people know what your motivation is, kind of everything that has to do with the who, what, where, why, and how. I don't know what a given story as to why you decided to go into medicine, but maybe that's an interesting story you need to tell people. It could be a traumatic experience in your childhood and you wanted to help other people. These are some of the things that people actually engage with or are engaged with, and we'll turn them into referral bases moving forward.
Now, why embrace emojis?
It is actually World Emoji Day. So the millennial in me checked that hashtag. So it's funny you say that. But you may find it useful to give a visual kind of display of something in your bio. So if, like, for you, for instance, you're a jet setter, you travel a lot, so you might say travel enthusiast with a airplane emoji. That gives someone a visual thing that they can remember.
Or I could put a hashtag travel enthusiast.
Yeah, after that. So
okay, got it.
Yeah, do the airplane emoji and then hashtag travel
or
enthusiast.
hashtag World Emoji Day.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks, Melinda, with the "You're hilarious" hashtag. So yeah, you make sure that it's on brand still. We're not just doing an airplane emoji for no reason. The World Emoji Day hashtag has to relate something to why you're using emojis, or maybe you're asking your community, hey, what emojis should I be using? Just starting conversations that way. Now, this all circles back to who you serve, which would be patients or customers. I don't know what you call them, but somewhere in there, I hope you're doing this for them. Even a small sliver, hopefully it's about them. So meeting their needs, improving their outlook on life, making them feel good about themselves, or even saving their life. Literally, that's what most of you guys do out there. You save lives. So let's talk about some customer behavior, or consumer behavior rather. 80% of internet users are specifically looking for health information. So if 74% of internet users engage in social media, you see there's a big group of people who are looking for both. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to take advantage of that. So let's move on to the common mistakes. Now, last webinar was about HIPAA violations. I am not a specialist in that, so I will not go too far into it. But I just want you to be wary of some of the pitfalls that you can fall into just simply using social media in a medical facility where protected health information is available to be shared inadvertently. And we'll also discuss some of the reasons why you should take offline conversation or take online conversations offline. And then also employee training, which circles back to the HIPAA thing as well. So do not share anything without consent. That's just the bottom line. If you do not have a written contract as to the grounds as to how you can share it, this includes your website, social media in general. You may want to get specific about what platforms you're using this with the social media, but just because it's your work, if you're doing fillers on someone, does not mean you have the right to share their likeness. So just be careful with that. Also, patient gossip is a big problem. Just reception or any office nature, people might want to chit chat about people. That is a HIPAA violation, a possibility. So you just don't want anybody's information getting out there. Now, in this situation, circling back to social media, if people are speaking about one of your customers online and someone can figure out that they're being spoken about, that might be an issue for you. So just be careful.
And following the 10% rule, there is insurance for that.
Exactly. And then, so just make sure that no pictures that you're sharing has any identifiable patient info, even if it's a last name, comma, first initial. Just don't risk it. Make sure that it's a clear and safe image to share that has consent. Okay, so I have been an angry customer before. I understand where people are coming from. So as a business owner, you have to think, do I want all of this public information speaking poorly about my business online for everyone to see? because that's the situation you're going to have in the comment section of a post. If someone's yelling back and forth about something and you're going back and forth, that is just terrible PR for your company.
Now, Sammy, we haven't had that, and I'm not saying that as a joke. Truly, we haven't had that at Presidio, at least not
Knock
yet.
on wood.
Not yet. Knock on wood, right? But what platform would that generally happen? Are you talking Yelp reviews, which we talk a lot about, or are you talking LinkedIn or Twitter? Like, where does this sort of thing happen for doctors?
I would say Facebook might be a big situation for that because it's a backyard barbecue. Everyone's doing free for all, and they'll tag friends and just start going off about something. But it could happen anywhere. Yelp is a big review platform, so any opportunity for someone to either bag on or shine a good light on you is an opportunity for bad conversations to happen, and you just want to be able to control the conversation. So taking it offline is the best bet for that. Let's go into our herd. So yes, this is an acronym. So you want to hear the customer out, which would be listen to the customer's entire story. You want to empathize for E. Use phrases that convey that you understand how the customer feels, and then apologize. I know this is a difficult one, but we want to say we're sorry. Usually like sorry for the negative experience. You don't know if you were actually at fault, but you just want to make sure that people know that you're apologetic for the situation. Resolve it, which is for R. So fix the issue. And if you don't know how to ask ask the customer, how do we make this right? And then D is for diagnose, which get to the bottom of the problem. That's how we nip everything in the bud.
In other words, don't just solve that one fire and then it keeps happening over and over.
Exactly.
Figure out why it even have the bad customer service
If you
experience.
have a hazard, you need to figure out why you have a hazard and completely get rid of it. Okay, and employee training, this is one of the major issues where you could be doing as a leader everything right on your end except for training. You have to make sure that it's not just passing out a handbook and, okay, everyone was given the correct information. Kind of walk people through, say that you can't do X, Y, and Z. You cannot take pictures in the office. We actually have some offices that have no cell phones in the actual facility. There'll be like a locker, so everyone has to check that in, and then you can get it when you go to lunch or on breaks, just to protect the patient information. That's a little drastic. I would say
we might have a millennial rebellion if I tried that.
but if you find it may be an issue and there's a lot of gossip in the office and you do not want to spend any money on these types of claims, go ahead and do it. Okay, so the major circle back to purpose of social media engagement. How do we build community? Well, building community is a difficult situation because you have to figure out who your target is, but your target might not be the only part of your community. It might be a referral basis, so someone that's not specifically in.
And when you're saying community, you're talking in the digital world community,
exactly.
Like online community. So when I hear community, I think Thousand Oaks, right? Which is where we're located for those of you who don't know. But so you're talking online community.
Yes. So It may be local to Thousand Oaks if you're a business in Thousand Oaks that can only serve person to person. Unlike us, we write business all over the country. If you're serving people within that area, that makes sense. You also may have people who fly in. So that's where people have websites where they'll mention, okay, what's the best hotel situation, accommodations, and I know Uber's big, but like car service and things like that. These are types of things that help you build community and take care of people that might not just be specifically in your small bubble. Okay. Then moving forward to patient-physician relationship, which you want to nurture online. Think of it as an extension of your bedside manner. So you're great in person, but if your customer service online is terrible, that might be an issue that might take me to another doctor.
So give me an example of something I would post if I'm trying to sort of enforce that we, have a lot of sincerity in the way we're treating patients. Am I looking for hashtag World Sincerity Day? Am I looking to post quotes about it, or like, how do I enforce that if that's a value for my business?
That as well, and videos of yourself speaking on the things that motivate you.
Okay.
That's actually a very good way to convey your sincerity, speaking to it.
Oh, so like first
yeah.
person, I'm genuine,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
these are my beliefs. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, good point. Okay.
So all of these in a culmination will be a great way to build trust, commitment. Consistency is one of the major points, though. You want to make it as close as possible to your in-person as online, just customer service. And I believe that you can't really give any medical, someone working in marketing can't give any medical advice on these comments. So that's why we want to take it offline when you do your apology situation, or just saying, can we just take this to email or a phone call and we'll discuss any issue you may have. That builds trust. That's a great way to stay within the confines of your scope of practice, as well as just fixing whatever problem might happen.
Yeah, and I've heard you, Sammy, give tips on, for example, speaking to competence. If one of our clients or groups is attending a seminar, an association meeting, something that's sort of advancing their training or their practice or what have you, to post a quick picture like you're always having me do, post a quick picture. People know you're out there really trying to be better, more educated, stay current with issues. And so I guess that would be the same kind of tip you're saying here, is post a picture when you go to that meeting, that seminar, to show patients you are staying current with training and what have you. So.
And even on a lighter note, when I asked you to take pictures of the goat yoga that you recently did, great hit. It's engagement overload. So you actually never know what will inspire people to like your posts and respond to it. So
true. Because I went with a client, I was saying, okay, fine, I'll do it because it was a client and I doing it. But you're right. We're not, at least for me, I'm not used to having that, sort of personal side of my life online, where I think in your age demographic, they're much more. So that's important for us to learn, that in our practices, your patients want to know about you personally, not just, sort of the formal stuff. But okay, so sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, millennials and Gen Z will probably overshare, and then everyone before us will probably be a little bit more cautious, but a happy medium for everything.
True. I don't know. My mother tends to overshare on Facebook, so there's that.
No comment. Okay, so circling back to the malpractice side of things, which specifically, I want to take it from a more person-to-person situation. Better relationships are going to create fewer claims. That's just the bottom line. If you're nicer to your customers or clients or patients, they're probably going to be a lot more receptive of working with you rather than filing a lawsuit. And that's the bottom line of that one. This is one of my favorite Maya Angelou quotes. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's a great tip for how you should approach social media.
Have we posted this, by the way? Because I really like it.
No.
All right. We'll post it next. Hashtag Maya Angelou.
Perfect. Okay. So if you're probably a logical thinker or practical, results driven like myself, you're probably thinking about money. How much is this going to cost me? And I really can't give you a dollar amount because it is a full-time job. You could literally sit all day scouring the internet, working on social media, strategizing everything, but you basically get out of it what you put in. So that's personnel, the cost of having someone work on your social media, which includes the research, just kind of formulating a plan, strategy, and then also paying for advertising and promotion, which has a dollar amount set to your group of people in target and demographics, all the things that you can toggle in each of those. I won't get specific into that. If you do have any questions on that, you can ask me offline.
I will say, comment on that, Sammy, is one of the things I think you taught me is that I only needed to invest a few minutes each week to my social media, because I was pretty resistant to it, as you know, initially saying I'm not an online person, I am pretty private and what have you. And I have seen it pay a lot of dividends that I'm able to get online and let people know a little bit about me. And I'm really only spending, 10 minutes a week is what you've gotten me now sort of trained to do. So, So for those of you out there who, don't want to, because I'm not on my phone a ton, at least not, for social media purposes, there, you don't have to spend a ton of time. You can spend 5 or 10 minutes a week, post a couple of pictures, make a couple of comments, and that's enough, as long as we talked about that earlier, it's consistent. As long as you're consistently doing it, then it seems to over time grow pretty nicely. So don't be too scared about the time commitment on it.
All right, to wrap things up with key tips, write a great bio. If you need help with that, please reach out to me. I'll help you out with that. Make sure your customers feel heard. That is both in person and on social media with your messaging boards or in the comments. Build community through trust. So the culmination of those terms will help you get there. Train everyone. Make sure that you're not leaving a social media oversight because it is so prevalent that you might run into an issue. And then you get out of it what you put in. So if that's money or time, just expect to receive the same energy back, what you put into it.
And, so my final thing on that tip, and Sammy and I talked about it, so I think he's okay with my saying this, but I wanted to just be clear that for all of our clients or potential clients, I understand, particularly if you're not in the millennial age group, that this can be a little intimidating. So on the bio, feel free, reach out to Sammy. He'll help you write that up. He helped me with mine. And little things make a big difference if you spend 5 minutes trying to understand, well, why do I push that hashtag there and why the emojis and this, that, and the other. He can sort of make it fresh and help you get a good bio, which is the first thing everybody sees. So if you're going to devote 10 minutes, do it there. And I'm offering for Sammy to spend his time for any of our clients or prospective clients to go ahead and reach out to him and he'll help you do it. So we're just giving that as an offer for anybody who needs it.
Happy to do it. All right, so here are all of my contact information, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can find Giselle via my same LinkedIn. So.
And then finally, let's talk about, Sammy, what we have planned for our next webinar, which is kind of an interesting one.
All right, so we have rapid molecular pathogen testing. That sounds very nerdy, and I'm excited.
So we'll see everybody August 8th for that next webinar, and it's sort of the latest and greatest in pathogen testing. We'll have a great speaker as usual, and as always, we will keep it very short, never more than 20 minutes, and that's about it. Everyone have a great rest of your week.
All right. Bye.